CAN system, controller area network systems. All the controllers, all the modules on the vehicle have a communications line. They communicate from module to module communication or peer-to-peer communication. Um, is what it's for. It's open architecture. It's got general speeds, A, B, and C speeds. Has a start with a message there, and there's identifying bits lets which modules know which module it's wanting to communicate with. That way the other modules will ignore it if it's not that module. The priority bit helps the other modules know to shut up to allow this actual communication to actually occur. And after the actual message, the message is sent, it's followed by redundancy bits just to make sure that the message is valid. So just because it sends a message doesn't mean it's a good message. It doesn't send a message and then have the redundancy bits behind it that says it's a good message. Kind of like with the nuclear codes. You do nuclear codes, 2 thumbs up, 2 keys, you're good to go. Just because somebody knows the code doesn't mean it's actually accessed until it's approved that it is the correct code. And then the end of message bit is attached so other modules know that no more information is coming in that message packet. So a lot of times computers and modules will go to sleep. These can take up to 18 hours on some of the GM vehicles, like after you turn the key off in your vehicle or push the button to stop the vehicle. Those modules are sitting here powering down at different intervals and different times. Some modules may not power down for 18 hours, and that's just the way they're programmed, just to monitor some things in the vehicle. I don't know if it's doing like some EVAP monitoring, especially if it's the EVAP pressure, the fuel tank pressure. Well, on a hot day, it's supposed to monitor the fuel tank pressure there. Then as the fuel tank cools down, if it's locked the pressure in there, it's actually going to create a vacuum inside that fuel tank. And that's going to be kind of what it's monitoring. It may take up to 16, 18 hours for that to happen. But then after that happens, the module goes to sleep and everything's great. What happens when the module doesn't go to sleep is your battery will die. That's just kind of how it goes. You have a light that's on the whole time. It's battery powered. It's going to go out eventually. Same thing with having a computer that's on all the time. Leave your laptop on. See how long it lasts. It lasts a pretty good while. Volt battery is a nice big battery, but it's very finite. It's going to die soon. CAN termination. The 2 twisted pair of wires have a 60 ohm resistor between the positive and negative circuit. There's positive and negative circuit there. It's achieved by placing a 120 ohm resistor in parallel. So we have a twisted pair of wires. This is twisted pair of wires. Ooh, that's a terrible wire. Twisted pair of wires. And then at one end, there's a 120 ohm resistor. And at the other end, or the other wire, there's a 120 ohm resistor. Now, those 120 ohm resistors equal a total resistance 60 ohms. Now, going way back to your first electric class, where you talk about Ohm's law and things just that. This 120 is a parallel circuit layer. Remember, a parallel circuit, the total resistance would be smaller than the smallest resistor. This is 220 ohm resistors. You do your math like that, you get a total resistance of 60 ohms of resistance. So when you're sitting here checking for resistance in those 2 wires, you can either positive and negative, because you have a power and ground, positive and negative, roughly. You have your power and ground there, and you're sitting here just checking the terminating resistors there with no power on the vehicle, or no power on it. It's going to be at 60 ohms. If you don't have 60 ohms, and you have more than 60 ohms, you have a problem with one of your resistors. That's a simple check. Sometimes it's the first thing you do. You unplug the module, check your power and ground with your multimeter. If you have 60 ohms of resistance, you're good to go, and you go to step 2 or step 3. But most CAN-V networks use dual 120 ohm resistors. There are some variations. The termination resistors may be located in specific modules. They also may be built in the junction connector. So it depends on which module you're dealing with, and service information will tell you which module to disconnect and how to disconnect it and what wires to check. Be aware of that. Whoa. Put this up post. And we're back. I had to erase the board a little bit. It takes a little time. I may do that on a fast or motion or something in the future, but right now that's how it goes. 3 controller speeds. We have low speed, high speed, and medium speed, low, medium, and high. All right, low speed, it's CAN A. CAN A. All right, this is the general category for low speed CAN communications. This is ISO standard, blah, 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 blah. It's 11.519. You don't need the ISO standard really. You don't get quizzed on things like that. Data communication on CAN A is about 10 kilobits per second, kbps. This is often used for simple sharing between simple computers like door control modules. Door control modules talking back and forth. It's CAN A is a single wire network, not like the CAN B and CAN C, the dual wire networks there. It's rarely connected to DLC. If you're getting any schedule information from modules on a CAN A network, they're being translated through the gateway at a higher speed protocol. Not always, but usually, and that's going to be your CAN C. Your medium speed, this is CAN B. CAN B. It's intermediate speed communications there. The data is communicated about 30 to 250 kilobits per second, kbps. Like CAN A is used for sharing among simple systems, especially what's mostly an on-off switch. It can be a single or a dual wire network, depending on which each manufacturer calls medium speed. It just depends on the manufacturer that's using the medium speed. Quotation fingers, because it's really good on manufacturing. There are exceptions here. GM's use of medium speed GM-LAN circuit there. That's DLC pin 1. That's the one that will be actually doing DLC. And Ford's use of the MSCAN at DLC pins 3 and 11. Then we have our high-speed CAN. This is going to be, guess what? If you said CAN C, you're correct. CAN C. This is another category for high-speed bus communications there. This is 250 to 1,000 kbps, kilobits per second. It's always a two-wire network. Always two wires. Always two wires. It's always two wires. That's the wire we talk about. 120 ohm resistors, 60 ohms total resistance there. CAN C carries generic OBD2 data to all 2008 newer vehicles modules for inter-modular communications, but did not provide a DLC communication there before 2008. Even when CAN C was ported for the DLC, it was not always raw data. For example, on Chrysler's have a separate diagnostic CAN C circuit from the Central Gateway CGW. The data from the CGW is always CAN C, but it's always requested. It's only requested by the scan tool. If an application only has one CAN network, it's CAN C. If you only have one CAN, it's going to be your high-speed CAN bus. Some exceptions with earlier models, but just rule of thumb, CAN C is going to be your high-speed CAN is going to be your single CAN like that. Even when multiple CAN speeds are used, CAN C is generally used for powertrain, chassis, and safety systems. Powertrain, chassis, and safety systems. So CAN C, powertrain, safety, and just lost the chassis. Real speed communication here. Throttle, accelerator pedal position switch. Accelerator pedal. Try 3. Accelerator pedal position sensor going to the PCM. The PCM then goes to the electronic throttle control. Opens the throttle there. That is CAN C. That's high speed. That's pretty much almost instantaneous. Your steering sensor, steering assist, that's going to be your CAN C. ABS brakes, that's going to be CAN C. Stuff that has to happen in real time. Controller networks have gotten faster than 1,000 kilobits per second. Don't worry about that. We've got some that's just crazy fast right now. But however, we need to know about the stability there. There is a CAN D, but it's newer and less used protocol for extremely high data rates. The category ranges between 1 to 4 megabits per second. So it's the same as 1 to 400,000 kilobits per second. You think this would be reserved for critical power or safety functions, but it's only being used for entertainment systems right now that require a bit more data than any other automotive system. Entertainment systems, especially video, audio-video, use a lot of data to transmit. Right now, CAN-D is only used for that, so don't freak out over that. Stability of your CAN network. There are far fewer problems. CAN systems have a lot fewer problems than other networks. Having the dual wires for redundancy, that really cuts down on our issues that we have with that, or data loss. Faulty CAN modules are generally designed to sign off the network if there's a problem. So if you've got a module that went bad, it's pretty much going to just shut down and not work. A lot of times you don't have communication with that module because it is shut down. Or you have a module that's just basically just gone to sleep permanently. We've had that happen a couple times where there's just no information from the data bus, and you check, and it all leads you back. The data bus is kind of shorted, and so you get this module here. You unplug the module, everything works just fine except for that module communications. A lot of times that's what happens is they sign off and don't sign back on. And they can kill the whole data bus and just shut the vehicle down. So just be aware of that. But having the two wires is very redundant. We don't have as many issues as we normally do have. We normally have module issues, but we actually have bus issues. There are data issues there. We'll do a whole lot less module isolation on CAN applications. Used to, on GMs, we have to disconnect the module to get everything back up. So with them signing off like that, we don't have to worry about that so much. More stability is gained because the strategy building the CAN protocol, they identify themselves as priority and what priority they are. When one sends a high priority signal, the other module stops talking. It's kind of like out in your classroom there when all of a sudden the teacher walks in, it's supposed to. Most of the other conversations die down so the instructor or professor can speak. And that's pretty much, I have the priority message, or the constructor has the priority message. And then all the other modules or all the other students kind of stop talking. Or if the student has to say, I have a problem with this, that's a priority message, then they can talk back and forth. All the other modules or students can actually sit here and listen in and see what's going on, but it doesn't really affect them most of the time. The originating module will keep resending the message until it's completely received. So just be aware of that even if it's a low priority message, it can be lost. The high priority messages will be sent until it's received and acknowledged that it's received. That way it gets, man, I wish you could do this as instructors. Make sure you got it before you moved on. We could probably do that if you communicate with us. Then we have the cyclical redundancy checks. Remember the redundancy bits that follow each message that sends out there. And you've got a very stable network with CAN systems now. Modules keep sending until each message is completely received and they're verified. So momentarily interference or interruptions only delay communications. The message is still going to get through. It's just maybe delayed a few seconds or milliseconds or microseconds, depending on what it is. All right. Now we'll talk about some unique faults. There are some unique faults that happen with a two-wire CAN system that are kind of unique to the two-wire CAN systems. Some of these faults are simple. You get a short, shorts again, to voltage. You can pause it. Excuse me. We can't pause this out there. In most cases, the CAN negative can still be toggled low by the network when the positive short of the voltage there. Network modules will actually look messier on a lab scope. Whether this results in erratic communication or not depends on the sensing thresholds of the modules themselves and the program, as well as the resistance in the extra noise induced by the short. However, having a short voltage removes the benefit of having a twisted pair. In most cases, this results in mostly stable communication. Not extremely stable, but mostly stable communication with codes indicating a short there. The CAN negative circuit can also, is still communicating, will be toggled from 12 volts about to talk, not the normal 2.5 volts, because remember it's 2.5 volts high, 2.5 volts low. And by cycling will be greater than the normal 0 to 1 volt range, possibly 3 to 6 volts. So you have a short CAN positive. Then we have, guess what? A short voltage CAN negative. Now, this short prevents other modules from achieving the proper bus voltage differential needed for other modules to sense a message. Therefore, the fault results in no communication with any modules in the network, even though only one circuit is short. So short on the positive side, you'll still have some data transmission, but short on the negative side, you're not going to have any data transmission. It just shorts the whole network out. That's just some things that are going to happen. So if you're having just sporadic communication or some communications, maybe a short voltage on the positive side. Nothing at all. Dead network, probably a short voltage on the negative side. Now remember when I'm talking about short voltages. It's way too much time. All right. The CAN bus system is about 2.5 volts. 2.5 volts. And let's go to about 2 volts. So if we have a graph here, this is our graph, and so here's voltage, this is time, and we're having CAN communications here. We have our bits at 2.5 volts there, and our communication comes down, up, down, up, down, up on the low side, and the high side is going down, up, down, vice versa. So here's CAN positive. How is it? It's not CAN. Positive. This is CAN. Aha. Now let's just that just go. Okay, let's put some more in there. The high voltage right here, which is like like 1.5 volts there. This is right here your CAN positive. This right here is your CAN negative. High and low voltage. This is a CAN high or CAN low. This is CAN positive, CAN ground there. That's what we're talking about there. Those are your two voltage signals there. It's only 1.5 volts. And it happens really fast. So if you're using a multimeter, you're probably not going to see it. You're going to need to use an oscilloscope for this right here. This is the data transmission. This is the information, the wires that we're talking about. And the two types of wires conversation we had a little bit differently. If you have a short to ground in your CAN ground, in most cases the CAN high can still be toggled on and off. Network modules when that's shorted. Network communications will look messier on the lab scope. It can be erratic, can be not. It's probably going to be fine if you just have a short to ground on the CAN negative. Remember the last time we talked about short to voltage? These are short to ground. Short to ground on the CAN positive here, it prevents the modules from achieving the proper bus voltage differential needed for the modules to send a message. Therefore, this fault results in no communication. So short to voltage will kill the communication in the low circuit. Short to ground will kill it on a high circuit. You'll have no communication. If you have an open in your CAN positive or CAN negative, or CAN high or CAN low, the remaining circuit's able to toggle. This is what the redundancy. This is why we're having a two-wire system here. It's a very redundant system, very rigid, and there's, like I said, very few problems that we have. But the problems that we do have are what we're talking about right now. However, two circuits are designed to stabilize each other, so any open in either circuit may cause some message corruption. Your data has been corrupted. It's crazy. Causing an erratic system operation or intermittent codes. In addition to open CAN circuit codes that will be present. You'll generally have, if you have a problem in your CAN bus system, open or closed, or an open circuit, it's going to give you a complete data line saying, hey, you've got a network code coming up here. Fault tolerance for this right here depends on how much noise is induced in the circuit. Remember, CAN is normally resistant to EMI and RFI because it's a twisted pair. That's one of the reasons we twist the wires. It's a twisted pair of wires there. However, opening or opening those wires kills that beneficial effect. It terminates it. An open terminating resistor causes slightly different waveforms, but has the same effect on message stability. So if you have a terminating resistor, we talked about those 220 ohm resistors. So the high side will have one, the low side would have another one. So just be aware of that. If it is open, if that's your open, you can't positive or negative. If there's a short between the two, somehow they get together. There's your short there. If twisted pairs have rubbed enough to where they've got a short to them, it'll prevent modules from achieving proper bus voltage differential, because remember that's a differential in voltage all the way through while it's communicating, in order to send a message. Both CAN high and CAN low will show the default 2.5 volts. They'll show default 2.5 volts. The modules that typically communicate, CAN positive is pulled to 3.5 volts and CAN negative is pulled to 1.5 volts. When shorted together, these opposite movements cancel each other out, and the bus remains shorted to the 2.5 volt bias. So if you're taking a multimeter, you'll see a bias 2.5 volts there. Therefore, this fault represents a no communication with any module in the network. So that's short, bus to bus shorts out there. So be aware of that. Hopefully nobody's installed a radio, cut your CAN wires, bad out. Oh, this got one on it. Great. So there's some waveforms we can see for that. So high and low, high and low. Again, we're going to look at waveforms for this one here. Speed. Again, by law, 2008 or newer vehicles must use a CAN, generic CAN bus application there. This version of the protocol is defined by, again, ISO 15765. Many 2003 or 2007 vehicles complied with this mandate early as models were refreshed. Generic CAN messages are only sent and received when scan tool is connected to the system, so be aware of that. And because the generic message is just another car on the information highway, you can't tell from a waveform which messages are which. So even if you have an oscilloscope, you don't know what you're reading. So just be aware of that. The scan tool sees only the message traffic, but it's only programmed to understand the messages with the generic content. Generic message traffic uses the physical CAN C circuits of the DLC. That's your high-speed CAN. So you can have CAN A and CAN B circuits wired to the DLC, and they are used to communicate with other modules and should not be tested for generic no communication faults. CAN bus communication. You must, M-U-S-T, you must have repair information. I need to diagnose. CAN bus systems. You will need service information. Service information. You must have service information. Without service information, you're just wasting your time. You need to have access to TSBs. Now you can use IATN.net or Identifix. Google is helpful. Vehicle repair history. Repair history. Repair history. And then normal system operation documentation. How does the system work normally? If you don't know how it works normally or what you're looking for normally, you don't know what you're needing there. So be aware of that. Star networks. What star networks here? This is what we just had. Now we have a loop network. For a loop network, you have your modules, module, and they're all linked together. Whichever one is your gateway module, if this is your gateway module right here, if that's your gateway module, I'm looking at your modules here. If this is your gateway module, and you've got a short right here, You may have communication back this way and communication back this way or here, but you won't have communication between here and here. So on a loop network here, just unplug the modules of one at a time until communication with other modules are restored to find the faulty leg. If you have a faulty leg in your module, you're sitting here just basically disconnecting the module. That was a big Chrysler thing I had to do a couple times. Just disconnect the module and see if everything that woke up and you had connection with everything else. So if you have a ring network, or a loop network as it's called, and if there's no short found, here's a strategy. I've got no shorts. Everything's not working. What's happening here? If your testing reveals there's no short, but you still have no communication with the system, you probably have a gateway managing traffic. What's it called? It's gateway traffic managing network traffic. Aha. Between networks and scan tool can be a communication issue there. The loss of network traffic is the symptom. Okay, the loss of the traffic there with the communication between each module is the symptom, not the cause. This will not often set codes because the module would set the code that would set the code has shut down. So you don't have a code because the module's not working right. And it doesn't know the difference. Go to any available flow charts for that module and check the power and ground and the ignition switch states. Remember, again, old school cars had on, accessory on, start. So depending on which key selection switch you are in, make sure you have voltage in those states. You normally have constant power, your 12 volt reference there, and sometimes you have switch power. Make sure that is all working right. And again, make sure key is on. You're checking these modules here. I've seen people who decide to check module communications with the key turned off. Hard to get information if the key's turned off. Why? Because the vehicle doesn't know it's supposed to be on. Well, the module wake up. So be aware of that. In that case, in the case of finding particular power ground, the switch ignition states, making sure all that's right. You'll usually find all the networks in the vehicle that are talking to the gateway, but the gateway is not passing any messages between the networks, and it's not allowing scan tool communications. I've had vehicles that I could not connect with one scan tool, but I got a different scan tool that connected right to it. I'm looking at you, Volkswagen. Volkswagen, sometimes you and Snap-on and you and OTC, Bosch have had issues with me. But that's my history. It may not be yours. So be aware of that. So dead networks, that's some of the diagnostic ways of testing dead networks there. Now, let's talk about something different here. Let's talk about network shorts. That was a dead network, now let's talk about shorted networks here. Network shorts to power and ground are very common. Salute your shorts. If you get that reference, you're awesome. But we're going to talk about shorts. Sorry. Network shorts to power and ground are common, but it's a shorts to one of the physical network circuits or a short inside of one of the network modules there. So you got to think about where your shorts and where your shorts are located there. You can disconnect and reconnect modules one at a time in a loop until communication is restored. The last module you disconnected had an integral short. If there's still no communication, then your network harness is shorted. The harness itself is shorted. So be aware of that. For star networks, it may be easier to isolate all the modules centrally and then jumper each to the DLC to find which leg can communicate. So you may found the short, but you still need a strategy to determine if the short is in the module or the physical network wiring. So for loop networks, for loop networks, disconnect 2 modules at a time until communication is restored. Your short is between the last 2 modules you disconnected. Using a wiring diagram, you can save time by disconnecting modules on opposite sides of the loop, depending on which half of the network the short is in. Then repeat to find which quarter it's in and so on. You're sitting here, this is in this half, not that half. It's in this quarter, not that quarter. Then you can see and find it right here between those two things. For star networks, you want to disconnect the central splice or column that has the jumper legs to it to find the short. Now simply disconnect any of the modules on that leg. It goes off from there. If the short is still there, you have a wiring fault. If it's not, you have a module fault. Sorry. And a lot of times in these CAN networks, you'd rather have a module fault than a wiring fault. Yeah, if you've had to pull apart wiring harnesses, yeah, I'd much rather have a module fault than a wiring fault. So salute your shorts. If you've got a shorted wire, that's what you got to think about right there. Now if we're talking about opens, oh my goodness, salute your shorts there. Let's talk about opens now real quick. Wow, a lot of stuff. Let's put this up right here. So we got one right here. Right here. There we go. Opens. Opens are very common. The diagnostic process is very different than shorts because you'll often have a scantor communication with other modules. If so, many modules probably won't have they probably will have a U, a B, or P code, one of whichever modules are communicating there. You can use a scantor health check. Sometimes you do that health check, and it scans all the modules. It's a great tool to have. If your scan tool does that, awesome. That is so great. All codes or whatever it's called there, to see which modules have communication or communication codes stored, and which ones are not currently online there. If the module is not currently on the network, but is physically accessible, the test that gives the most information with the least effort is to check for network activity at the module itself. If there's activity, then it's simply to assume the network is fine and the module is not communicating. However, what if the network is open somewhere else and the module is sending messages that simply aren't getting to their destination? Whether the module is dead or the network is open, you'll have to still have network activity. So one more test is needed. Connect a two-channel lab scope. Again, digital storage oscilloscope, lab scope, oscilloscope, two-channel lab scope. So I said we're talking about informational systems. Lab scope is what you have to have. DSO. The oscilloscope is dire to what you're doing with here. Two-channel lab scope on the network of the VLC and the working module, and one that is not communicating. So you can actually see the difference in communication on one that's working and one that's not. So be aware of that. If the waveforms are identical, then it's a module fault. But the further module diagnosis is needed for power, grounds, ignition faults, shorted actuators, shorted sensors, etc., etc. If waveforms look different, then the module is really communicating. But a network open may be preventing from all the communication actually module from seeing it. Move the lab scope lead to another connector or another module and splices until waveforms match. Then you found a section of the network that's open. To understand this logic, just think about the gateway module here that's going off like a star. Once that happens, then you're sitting here checking it, and you've got the issue with that. We're going to delete that. We're not even talking about that. All right, let's understand this logic. This is a Toyota thing. Let's get our some modules here. Draw some modules here. Gateway. So there's a gateway module there. Pair this over here to our DLC. And these modules are communicating with your gateway. But this one is not, because it's open. Okay? And because that's open there, we're going to take our lab scope here. We're going to check our DLC. And at our lab scope, we're going to find our, this right here. That's one channel, but it's a 2-channel lab scope. The other one we're going to sit here and test right here. So our waveform right here will be the same there. Once it's the same, you found your open there. Does that make sense? Single open on a loop network more heavily systems of code, so you won't be testing for opens anyway on a loop. Loop gives us a little opportunity. If it does have an open, it can still come back around and give us communication. But like on a gateway module like this right here with the star communication there, we're having issues there. So we're sitting here comparing the waveforms there. This one right here, we're having our issue there. Over at the top 9 since we've got our issue. There. I'm taking a lot of video to make one of these, just so you know. This may be a 2-minute video, but I've probably got an hour of stuff recorded. That. Stuff working on. All right. What if you found your problem? I found my problem. It's amazing. I have a wiring issue. Yay! But you have to do wiring repair. Wiring repair. Okay. First thing. Your length is critical. The wire length is critical there. Network wire, the length is so critical. Try to get as close to the original wire length as you can get as possible. Wire length variations of more than 50 millimeters in a dual wire network like you can. System may prevent proper communications because the mirrored signals will be out of sync. Remember, this wire showing that wire, it's going to be a little bit off sync. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be just a little off. I know 50 millimeters doesn't sound like that much. 50 millimeters. What your 10 millimeter looks like? You know where your 10 millimeter socket is? So, top of those, that's 50 millimeters. So be aware of that. The length is critical when you're making wire repair here. Second thing is always seal all your splices that you put in there. And the reason you want to do this is you want to shield them from corrosion and radio frequency interference. And with these, communications are happening so fast. Any other type of interference there, you're going to have a problem with it. Maintain the original wire twisting. Remember about 7 to 9 twist per foot or something like that. When relevant, 1 twist per inch is about standard for most 2-wire networks. I've seen them twisted more than that. So maintain the original wire twisting. So remember, again, when you're making a splice, especially soldering, you're getting that hard joint there, and your wire may not bend in that splice. So be aware of that when you're splicing this right here. If splicing a pair of wires, 2 wires together, so you don't splice them like this, again, splicing like that. Okay, when splicing a pair of wires, offset the splices to allow for better twisting. Keep your splices away from each other. Put them together, you're not going to have a twist there. So offset them for better twisting. When soldering connections or splices in network wires, use a rosin core mildly activated solder. Never use acid core solder. You know this. Don't use acid core solder for automotive work. Acid core is for other things. Use a rosin core solder. And also always use a heat sink over a heat shrink over the wiring. Heat sink. Always use a heat shrink over the wiring repair from at least a 1/2 inch overlap onto the insulation to the side of the wiring. Make sure that stuff's insulated. Hopefully your module wire repair will be on the interior of the vehicle. And also at the same time, as I hope your wire repair is not on the interior of the vehicle because you know how tight those quarters are. But if it is on the interior of the vehicle, please still use shrink wrap on there. Use a good shrink wrap. Use something that actually seals the wires up because any moisture, any kind of damage, anything like that happens. I'll never forget I worked on a convertible car. We don't have convertible trucks really that much anymore. We worked on a convertible car that somebody didn't use any kind of heat shrink or anything like this here, and somebody put the top down, rained inside the vehicle. Guess what? The wire repair they had got wet, shorted, corroded, had high resistance, and the window, the top wouldn't go up or down. It was a switch issue. It was wiring right there behind the switch. Because the wire was the switch was in the center console there, and it ran under the center console with a parking brake was, and water got in a rainstorm or something, hit the wire and turned it green. Had the little green thread on the inside of it. So be aware of that. So length is critical. Splicing is critical. Twisting is critical. Make sure you use the right type of solder, and always use heat shrink. So length is very critical. You don't want to be out of sync on your wire repair there. So length is critical. Twisting is critical. And that. Scan tool whole vehicle check. No matter what type of scan tool you use, I don't care if it's Snap-on, I don't care if it's Alltel, I don't care if it's Launch, I don't care if it's OTC, SPX, Bosch, it does not matter to me. I used to rep for OTC back in the day. It doesn't matter. No matter which vehicle you're using, if you have a review a mental list of what scan tool can do to best decide which functions you need for your network check. I have several types of scan tools myself. A lot of guys who do a lot of different diagnostics and a lot of different vehicles have different scan tools. At the shop at the school, we have 4 or 5 different types of scan tools there. Now you may only use the Barris or the Modus or the Genesis Elite or the Alltel or whatever. That's fine. But I recommend you try out as many scan tools as you can get. And as scan tool prices get down, if you want to be a diagnostic tech, invest in your scan tools. No matter which scan tool you use, figure out which one works best for that vehicle. Some, like I said, Volkswagen, looking at you, have to have some specific scan tools for that one. And I had one scan tool I hooked into it one day, it worked just fine. The next day I used the same exact scan tool because I looked in the office and it didn't want to communicate. It was a network issue. It wasn't a scan tool issue. But as a technician, if you only have that one scan tool, how do you know? You grab another scan tool that can do it, and that communicates just fine. Okay, great. Check your wiring, check your DLC connectors, make sure that's all good there. Complex systems tend to have complex system interactions. These include shared network that's hardwired for inputs and shared functionality. For example, if an airbag system uses vehicle speed from the PCM or the instrumental cluster, or passenger weight from the occupant detection classification there, any codes in that system may help you when diagnosing those networks. I can see it in my powertrain, but I can't see it here. Why not? Well, those two systems may not be communicating with each other. Oh, okay, that's something to think about there. Each manufacturer uses different terminology, which varies different it also varies by scan tool manufacturers, such as Diagnostic Circuit Health Check, Class 2, GMLAN, DCC Check, All System Scan, All Codes, Health Check, etc. It's all doing the same thing. Know your tool, know the system you're working with there. So whatever it's called, use it whenever it's possible to see what's going on in the entire vehicle. Back in the day, we used to teach students who want to just be a diagnostician. All you got to do is check the check engine light. Just pull your powertrain codes and get out of there. That's fine. I'm more of a holistic approach. I want to see what's wrong with the entire vehicle, not just the checking light on the vehicle, because that way I can actually alert my customer that, hey, I noticed that you have a network communication issue, or are you having issues with your radio, or are you having issues with this? Has the light's been on because I've pulled up these other codes as well? Some guys just want to go in there and make their money, go in there and say, oh, you have an air, a lean air LAF sensor that's going crazy here. Let's just replace that sensor, get you out of here. We're great. I get that. Time is money. But so is quality. Quality is money too. If they know you're looking out for the customer knows you're looking out for them, they're going to come back. They're going to be a repeat customer. I love my repeat customers back when I was a tech. I did. It mean a lot to me for them to actually request me by name. So it was great. So whatever test that's used on your scan tool, whatever it's done, you can see what's going on with the entire vehicle, and sometimes problems in one system affect another system. Um, that seems like they're unrelated, but they're the same. The Tech 2 example, I was a GM tech. I used the Tech 2 quite a bit. I remember servicing several Corvettes and things that had a module issue here, and I would say a powertrain code here, but we also have like a radio code or some other codes here. And if you know the diagram, you're like, okay, I see how that interacts right here. Do some work, do some simple research, some simple stuff because I've seen it before. You know, like Einstein said, knowing the solution to the problem really makes the problem a lot easier. Once you know the solution, the problem's simple, the answer is easy. So be aware of that. You have a lot of modules listed on the vehicle. Some scan tools, they'll see what modules on the vehicle and only list those. Other scan tools will list every module imaginable, and then they'll say what you have communication with them what you don't. Know your scan tools, very, very important. DLC breakout boxes, those are great. I do not have one here right with me. Basically, it's the 16-pin connector that slides into your DLC, and then it has basically banana plugs, the female banana plugs in there that you can stick your scan tool, not your scan tool, haha. Your oscilloscope, your test light, and other things in there to actually see, make sure you're getting communications. But we'll talk about that. Again, remember, never front probe a connector, always back probe